I am standing here in Umuololo in Igiriukwu Autonomous Community, Owaza, Ukwa West Local Government Area of Abia State. This community sits in one of the state's major oil-producing areas. But beneath the wealth generated from the oil in this part of Abia lies another story, one of environmental damage, lost livelihoods, and a community demanding answers. A pipeline explosion rocked this community. Crude oil spilled into the environment, affecting farmlands, shops, properties, and the livelihoods of residents. And today, weeks after that incident, I have come here with the Foundation for Environmental Rights, Advocacy and Development, FENRAD Nigeria, to see the impact for myself and hear directly from the people affected. But before I continue, please do share, comment, and like these videos.
And that incident happened on 22nd of June, around 11 minutes after 1.
Residents say the resulting crude oil spill contaminated parts of the environment and caused significant damage around the community. For people here, the impact is particularly serious because Owaza is predominantly agrarian. For many families, the farm is not simply a source of income, it is their livelihood. The residents also reported health concerns which they associated with the pollution, including concerns about its effect on children.
That very period, there were some aged women and some children that was affected because of the inhaling of the smell of the crude oil. And these persons were taken to the hospital by their family members, footed the bills, hospitalized, till death. Nothing reasonable has actually happened from either the company people or the government or whoever, aside your intervention as you just came in now as FENRAD.
These are claims that require proper environmental and health assessments to establish the full extent of the impact. But listening to the people here, one thing is clear. The explosion has left behind more than a damaged pipeline. It has left behind fear, uncertainty, and economic loss.
Around 1:30 midnight, we had a park explosion there. Okay. So even the pressure was so high. Even if I remember fence and other damage, both Mamakos, everything, that's here and about now they're here. As you can see, I wouldn't lie here. They got chopped now. Even me, I know here there's more than all you did there that day. Money did there. So you let all these places was damaged. And the now. As you can see, they survive once here. How can the American even plantain adults here? Who can be also there? Maji, Maoka, Mogo, everything was also damaged.
Here is my shop. Everything was damaged.
On Wednesday, the 5th of August 2026, I joined FENRAD Nigeria for a community remediation and field technical assessment visit. The visit included a town hall meeting where residents openly expressed their frustrations. One of the major complaints from the community is what residents describe as inadequate response from both the oil company and government authorities. According to them, officials came to the area after the incident, dealt with the spilled crude and secured the damaged pipeline, but did not adequately address the losses suffered by residents. The company, identified by the residents as being responsible for the affected pipeline, is Nigerian Exploration Petroleum Limited. At the time of this report, the residents' allegations should be considered alongside any response or findings from the company and relevant government authorities. But perhaps the biggest question coming from the people of Owaza goes beyond this particular oil spill. They want to know what they have gained from living on land that contributes to Nigeria's oil wealth. Residents complained about unemployment among local youths. They also lamented the lack of basic infrastructure, including good roads. And they say that despite the presence of oil exploration activities in their community, they have not seen benefits that, in their view, correspond to the value of the resources extracted from their land. For an agrarian community, however, the environmental question is perhaps the most immediate. When farmland is affected by crude oil, the economic consequences can continue long after the visible oil disappears. There was another troubling allegation raised during the town hall. Some residents accused unnamed influential individuals of using their connections to intimidate people who attempt to speak up or demand accountability.
There are some people, the privileged ones, who doesn't want the less privileged to put their mouth. If you want to do anything, they will ask you if that happened to your house. So based on that, they are just using that system to push away people.
Those allegations have not been independently established, but they reveal the level of frustration within the community. And perhaps, while some residents believe they have not been able to effectively demand answers. Our visit also took us to the palace of His Royal Majesty Eze Levi Obioma Nwogo, described as the oldest serving traditional ruler of the Owaza clan. His perspective provides another important dimension to the story, the perspective of traditional leadership in an oil-producing community confronting environmental and developmental challenges. But even as FENRAD offered to intervene, there was an obvious challenge: trust. Some residents expressed reservations about interventions. Their concerns appear to reflect previous experiences with interventions and promises that they felt had not produced meaningful results.
Please, you people, let you people not to be part of them, to come here now, after hearing from us, after all those explanations, after presenting some documents, pictures that was taken that day, some information that you need that we will provide for you now. After giving it to you, you will now go and say, join them and abandon them.
FENRAD's director, Comrade Nelson Nnannawafo, responded directly to those concerns.
If you go online, you see us, I will very track record. I want to ask our hand in this community, we're not going to come here again. Yes. That Chinese company I'm not ever. And when we then around their shadow, Madabo, then whenever I am going to intervene. Community, that's
Nwafo assured the community that FENRAD remained committed to its humanitarian responsibilities. He pointed to the organization's intervention in nearby Umuololo, where he said FENRAD pursued compensation from Shell Petroleum following a similar incident, including through a prolonged legal process. But there is a crucial question that must first be answered. What caused the explosion? According to FENRAD, that question should be addressed through a joint investigation visit, commonly known as JIV.
JIV, Joint Investigation Visit. My State government, my Ministry of Environment, my Ministry of Petroleum, my Federal Ministry of DBR, and other line government agencies in the oil and gas sector, my police, my army, my annual with the environmental advocacy groups, and then to the sites and the whole to here in and we had a joint investigation report. That report will give us an update of the control that particular explosion. Our environment, over some aquatic life in part. Then we put it in the record. Those and so trees was affected, so many farmlands was affected, fish pond was affected, the community environment was affected, farmlands were also devastated. For example,
the objective is to establish the cause of the incident and document its environmental and economic consequences. And that distinction matters because determining whether the incident resulted from equipment or operational failure, third-party interference, or vandalism can have significant implications for responsibility and compensation. But this incident in Umuololo is only one chapter in the much bigger story of Owaza. This is an area that has contributed significantly to Abia's identity as an oil-producing state. The resources beneath this land generate wealth. Yet, residents say development has not kept pace with the value of those resources. The contradiction is striking. Oil beneath the ground, oil infrastructure around the community, but poor roads, limited opportunities for young people, and livelihoods vulnerable to environmental disasters. For the residents of Owaza, the issue is therefore not simply about compensation for one oil spill. It is about environmental justice. It is about accountability. And it is about whether communities that host Nigeria's natural resources should have to continually fight to see tangible benefits from them. FENRA's intervention in collaboration with Hida Resource Center is now focused on documenting the situation and assessing the impact of the incident. But the people of Umuololo are waiting for more than documentation. They want answers. They want the cause of the explosion established. They want the environmental impact properly assessed. They want their losses documented. And where responsibility is established, they want appropriate remediation and compensation. Standing here in Owaza, it is difficult to ignore the contradiction. This is a community sitting on resources that have helped make Abia an oil-producing state. Yet the people here say they continue to struggle with basic infrastructure and unemployment, while also bearing the risks that come with oil exploration. The explosion has once again brought those grievances to the surface. But beyond the anger and frustration, there is now an opportunity to establish the facts, an opportunity to determine responsibility, an opportunity to properly assess the damage, and perhaps, most importantly, an opportunity to rebuild the trust between the community, government, and oil industry. For the people of Umuololo and Owaza in general, the question is no longer simply about what happened on June 26. The bigger question is, after the oil has been extracted, who takes responsibility for the people and environment left behind? I am Maazi Nonso, reporting from Umuololo, Igiriukwu Autonomous Community, Owaza, Ukwa West Local Government Area of Abia State.